Hey, Salt Dogs fans, Michael Shively here. It's the In The Dugout segment, both on Salt Dogs social media and over the air on ESPN FM 1015, 1480 AM. We're getting ready for first pitch against the Sioux City Explorers tonight, and I'm joined in the dugout with Salt Dogs relief pitcher and former major leaguer Casey Crosby. Casey, a left-handed pitcher, 3 scoreless innings so far in your Salt Dogs career. Good way to start out. And so I mentioned a former big leaguer, Casey, but you haven't registered an official inning since 2014. What have you been doing the last couple of baseball seasons?
Well, 2015, I ended my season a little early in Southern Maryland. So then I went home and I started school up because I got drafted out of high school. Mm-hmm. So took 2 years at Northern Illinois University, and then beginning of this year, 2017. I talked to my wife, and I decided to give it one more shot in baseball, and we changed a lot of things up. Changed my diet up. Not eating any gluten, any dairy, any sugars, any red meat. Changed my delivery up so I'm not as long in my arm path. I'm a little shorter, so I can finish the ball and don't put a lot of stress on my elbow.
You mentioned stress on your elbow. Injury is definitely a big part of your history, and perhaps what shortened that time in the MLB. What kind of injuries have you suffered, and what were you rehabbing or working on in the last couple of years?
I think it was just an extension of all the surgeries I've had from years before. I had Tommy John back in 2008. I had bone chips in 2013, and I think it's just a lot of inflammation that stirred up from that, and it would never go away. So. A lot of it had to do with, how my delivery was. It wasn't a healthy delivery. I was putting a lot of extra stress on my elbow that I didn't need to put on. And I think I realized that once I started throwing and being more in control of my health. So,
what specific things have you done to your delivery to make it more healthy?
Well, when I come up through with my arm path, I'm not as long. I'm not way far back here. I'm more in here. So that creates less stress here because I'm not starting to cock my arm back here. I'm starting it up here, and it hasn't really suffered velocity wise. And I'm also my front shoulder. A lot of kids out there, they try and rip that front shoulder across, but you want to rip it down instead.
Okay, so just a couple adjustments like
right.
that. And how's it feeling now that you're pitching again?
Oh man, it feels amazing. I can't even describe to you how great it feels. Not only throwing, but throwing more consistently than I was when I was early in my pro career, and more in control and just having a healthier, a healthier ending to it.
So taking 2 full seasons and more than that in terms of time between official innings, not only physically do you have that time off, but mentally, where were you at mentally as far as being ready to come back to baseball in these last couple of summers?
Well, mentally, I think the biggest thing was I'm doing it for myself. Earlier in my career, I kind of did stuff, and I thought about what everybody was thinking, and I wanted to just do it so I can impress everybody and so I can, not let anybody down. But this time around, it's all about, it seems selfish, but I feel like that's the way I have to go about it, is I'm just doing it for me. And, I have 2 daughters. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I just want to show them the perseverance that it takes. If you really want something, you got to go get it.
So then you bring your talents to the Lincoln Saltdogs. How did you get in touch with the Saltdogs to make that journey happen?
Well, Dan Reichert, the pitching coach, he back in 2015, I signed with the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and he was the pitching coach there. So he heard from some Chicago scouts that I was throwing again. They saw me, and I looked really good. So he called me up and asked me if I wanted to play, and I love it here. It's awesome. We're a first-place team. We got a great bullpen, so it's not like everything. It's not like you have to worry about going out there every day to shut out innings. You got guys behind you that'll pick you up too. So it's a good deal here, and I'm having a blast.
What are you looking to bring to the team, either role-wise or just generally speaking, with your abilities?
Just shut out innings. Innings were ahead. And I'm able to help put away the win. I don't want to get any extra runs in there, and. I just want to help the team win no matter what. I told them I'd do anything outside of starting. I can do some cleanup innings. I can do some setup. I can do closing. I can do whatever. But I like the fit here. Being in the 7th, 8th inning, it's awesome.
We're talking to Casey Crosby, Saltdogs left-handed relief pitcher, in the dugout, getting ready for 6:45 first pitch against the Sioux City Explorers tonight. A dual feature both on Saltdogs social media and over the air on ESPN FM 101.5, 1480 AM. And Casey, you take the mound for the first time officially in a game atmosphere since 2014.
Yeah.
That was last week. What was going through your mind when you took the hill?
I was just happy. It was just utter happiness. I mean, I couldn't really explain to you how great it felt to be out on the field. And, I keep telling people it was great to get out there and throw well and feel well. But the next day is usually when I get into trouble, and I felt good the next day too. So it was like it's definitely been a blessing that I've kind of taken a step back and realized what I need to do to switch up my my career a little bit.
3 shutout innings so far. That's what you said you wanted your role to be, the shutdown inning guy. What's your review of your first 3 performances?
I like it. I'm happy with it for sure. I've had trouble with walks in the past, and I'm kind of getting that under control, and just kind of pounding the zone and letting my stuff take care of the work.
Well, Casey, let's dive back to your major league experience real quickly here to finish out this In the Dugout segment. 5th-round pick in 2007. You pitched in 2012. You were just 23 years old when you made your major league debut. Right. That young, getting up on the big stage for the Detroit Tigers. When you first run out, what was crossing your mind at that time?
Well, I kind of want to take it back to the night before and the day leading up. The night before my start, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk. My wife was like, "You're a different person right now. I don't know who you are." So, and then the day leading up, I went to the field, and all my nerves just went away. Seeing all the guys that I see in spring training, all the guys that are in AAA, that I see in AAA that got called up earlier. But then once I got out onto the field to warm up, I didn't even need to stretch or throw or anything. I was throwing the ball as hard as I possibly could, and it felt great. So. That's definitely had my adrenaline going. So it was an awe. I was in awe with how big the stadium was and how many people were there and all the cameras and stuff. It was truly amazing, and it's something that I'll remember forever.
You made 3 starts, got the win in one of them. Do you have a favorite moment from your time with the Tigers?
Probably being in the dugout at Wrigley Field, because I grew up in Chicago. I was a big Cubs fan growing up, and just being out there for BP and being at the friendly confines and hanging out with my wife after and going out around the field, just being like I'm at another game, but this time I was like actually in it, so it was pretty cool. So I'll probably take that as my favorite experience in the big leagues. That's
awesome, Casey. Last one for you. When you're looking back at your 3 starts and your time with the Detroit Tigers back in 2012 at the major league level, what's something that you learned from that, looking back, that you can really use it back here in 2017?
I'd say don't be afraid to let loose and be happy. I felt like I didn't want to do anything wrong when I was up there. I didn't want to make any veteran mad or a coach mad, but if I had that experience again, I would definitely I would take advantage and just kind of soak it in and just really make it more memorable than it really was, because I felt like it was kind of more of like a dream back then.
That's awesome. Well, Casey, thanks for taking time, and welcome back to Lincoln.
All right, thanks.
That's Saltdogs relief pitcher Casey Crosby in the dugout. That'll do it for the At the Ballpark pregame show. Saltdogs social media and ESPN radio edition. You're listening to Saltdogs baseball on ESPN FM 101.5, 1480 AM.